Hello everyone, this is Miss Titus. The reason that my mouth and my words don't match is because for some reason the audio didn't record when I was doing this video last night. So I'm going to be doing a voiceover. As you guys can see from the title of this video and the box that I'm holding in my hand, we are going to be creating this project out of cardboard. You could find cardboard from any cereal boxes. I have a Jell-O pudding box in my hand, a soda box, anything like that. And if you don't have any cardboard available, you can use paper and cut that up, or newspaper is another source, or old magazines, anything that you have that you can kind of cut into different shapes as long as you have permission to cut it. Okay, make sure that it's something you can use. As you guys can see, I will need a bigger piece for the main face shape, and then I can use smaller pieces for all the details. So this could be, I'm using a soda box, but this could be a cereal box. There's the newspaper if you don't have any cardboard on hand that you want to use. And like I said, I'm going to do a brief demo on how to take apart a box in case you don't know how. So I'm just peeling off the one end and popping it open. Okay, that popped right open. Sometimes a little harder than that, sometimes not. And then you got to find the seam for the side and just gently peel along the seam. Okay, if you're doing it too rough, it will rip. And then now I got some supplies. Okay, going back to the bigger box, like I said earlier, we want a bigger piece to do our face shape, okay, because we don't want our face being super tiny. We want it to be about the same size as like our actual head. If you want to do it a little bit bigger, that's fine. You could also kind of think about it as like a mask. You can always hold it up in front of your face. On my box, I have a fold, so I'm kind of using that to my advantage to make it symmetrical or the same on both sides. I'm using my pencil first to trace out the line, taking my time. I see that one side it's a little bigger than the other side, so I'm going back to fix it. And I'm just showing that it's more symmetrical by folding it. This actually does become a problem later. I'll have to flatten it out with a book. I'll do that off camera. Okay, so when we come to cutting out our pieces, we want to use the back of the scissors, not the front of the scissors. The reason we want to use the back of the scissors is because it's more powerful. And if you guys think about your mouth, like you do most of the work with your back teeth or your molars, not your front teeth. So it's kind of the same thing with scissors. And cutting away from you like always. Remember, scissor safety, watch where all your fingers are. Pay attention to what you're doing. If it's too much cardboard around it, you can always cut off chunks. Oh, I thought this was on camera. Sorry, it's above the camera. Just taking your time, cutting it out. Okay, and now we have our shape. So this is going to be our base for our portrait. So you guys now can make the decision, do you want it to be like a portrait based off of yourself, and make it a self-portrait? Just holding it up to my face, showing you guys that it's about the same size as my face. Or do you want to make a picture of somebody else? It's really up to you. Or you can just make some random face and try to be creative with it. So as you guys can see, I already have some smaller pieces of cardboard cut up from a previous project. So you can just use your scrap from cutting out your face, that's fine. I'm folding this in half to create the ears, and that way I can cut out both of them at the same time so that they're both the same. You just got to be careful when you're cutting it because it makes it thicker. So try to use thin cardboard, like I said, the cereal box, the soda box. This is actually a hamburger helper box. and taking my time, being careful. And now I got my ears. And they're the same because I cut them out at the same time. So that's something to try. If you want to cut them out separate, that's fine. And now we're going to start attaching them. So you can use double-sided tape, you can use regular tape, you can use glue, a glue stick, liquid glue, whatever you have. If you don't have anything, you kind of can just place your base pieces on the cardboard and take a picture that way. You don't actually have to attach them if you don't have the supplies to attach them. So I'm using double-sided tape, which kind of comes back and haunts me later because it doesn't stick the way I wanted to. So I will later glue this off camera together so it stays when I take a picture. When you're doing the ears, see, I told you. When you're doing the ears, try to make sure that they're even on both sides because most people don't have one ear higher than the other. Okay, and on to the next stage. Find another piece. And I'm going to be cutting out the eyes, I believe. So with this, you can decide, do you want to just do it like a basic circle kind of situation like I did? Or do you want to create a almond or like football shape for your eyes that's more lifelike? And I'm showing that to you guys here. Don't press too hard with your pencil, guys. Breaks. So you can do something like that, maybe make it a little bigger than what I did. And I'm going to use my first circle that I cut out and trace it to cut out my second circle so that they're the same size. If you want to play with it and make it a little funky, you can make one eye smaller and one eye bigger. Make it a little bit more abstract. Okay, so not looking like a real person, maybe a little funny, a little different. Again, using the back of those scissors, guys. It's always important to go back and neaten things up. You can do like a rough cut and then do a nice cut. You don't have to cut it perfect the first time. Getting those attached, like I said, you can use any adhesive or like sticky material that you have. So tape, glue, glue stick. If you're using tape, be careful not to cut the pieces too big so that they're not hanging off the sides. And tape it on the correct side, because I do this a couple times where I tape it on the wrong side, and you guys, I think, will see it with the other eye, or with at least a couple of the facial features. Alright, and I'm kind of lining, that ear keeps falling off like throughout the whole entire video, sorry guys. I'm kind of lining them up with the ears a little bit. You don't want to make them too high, because you need to have room for your hair and your eyebrows. Your eyes are actually closer to the middle of your face than you think. So now I'm cutting out my eyebrows. Again, you can be a little bit more realistic with this, or you can do what I did and just kind of use rectangles. I didn't go super fancy. I wanted to show you guys the more simple version. I noticed that these are too long. So I do trim them later, but as you can see, you can make different expressions on your face depending on how you angle the eyebrows. If you point them more downward in the middle, you'll make it look more angry. If you make them pointing up in the middle, more surprised or maybe sad, depending on what you do with your mouth. I'm going to go with a more neutral face and keep them kind of flat. And as you guys can see, I mentioned how I tape it on the wrong side, so be careful that you're taping it so that the colored side is down, unless you are wanting to use that color, because you might have a box that is like red for your mouth or something that you want to take advantage of, or white for your eyes, and then you can go back and draw a black pupil later. Okay, for the next part, I believe we are doing the nose. So you can do something more simple like a triangle, as I'm going to show you guys here. Okay, like a tall, skinny triangle. Again, you can do something more abstract or more realistic depending on what kind of style you want to go for. And you can always cut out more than one piece and kind of play around with what you like. You don't have to cut out one piece and stick with it. The next thing that I'm going to be doing is drawing more of a realistic nose shape. And noses do look kind of weird. So I'm starting off with like a hook or a J. And then I'm kind of doing a bump on each side, or like a little mini U. And then I'm going to cut that out. Again, using the back of the scissors. Because if your cardboard is a thicker cardboard, it's going to be harder to cut. But if you have that cereal box type thickness, you shouldn't have any issues at all. It should be pretty easy to cut. Again, using the back of your scissors, don't forget that. If you have any like scrap fabric, you can use that as well, especially once you get to the hair. I didn't have any on hand at the time, so I didn't use that. And if you want anything crazy colors, go for it once you start coloring. And taping it on. I'm also going to have trouble with my nose because my thing's not completely flat. I flatten it off camera with a book. So if you're having problems with that, you can use a book or something heavy. That ear also keeps falling off. I will fix that. So, got my nose shape. The last part of my face that I'm going to do is my mouth before I move on to the hair. So for your mouth, I have more than one way to do this. Again, you can do something really simple, and if you look at the capital letter D and draw a shape like that, that could be a mouth open and smiling. And you can add teeth on there by drawing those in. Or you can just color it pink like the mouth is like completely open and you don't see it. You could probably do like an O shape to make like a surprised or scared face. So that's kind of simple. Or if you want to draw out some more realistic lips, it's kind of like the shape of a mustache if you think about it. So the top lip is kind of a mustache shape. Then you're going to close it on the bottom and just draw a curved line for the bottom lip. And depending on how wide you make it or tall you make it, kind of can change the type of lips you have. I did make mine a little bit wider and flatter on the corners. One thing I wish I did do was make it more of a smile rather than a straight face, because I feel like my person looks a little angry at the end because I didn't make her smile. Again, take your time with cutting things out. You want it nice and neat. Making sure that we are attaching it underneath the nose. You could also change the angle of the mouth. If you do it a little diagonal like you're smirking, that'd be something you could think about. I'm trimming my nose really quick because that one part was bothering me. So nothing is set until you glue it on. You can cut out all your facial features first and then go back and glue everything on. You don't have to glue it on as you go. Sorry, I don't remember what I'm saying here. Oh, I'm talking about the hair. So with the hair, you can do any kind of hairstyle that you want. I did like a side bang kind of situation. I tried to do a little bit on top, and then I had some straight pieces for the hair, just really long skinny rectangles. Again, I'm going to glue all those pieces on off camera since they take a little bit longer to dry. And with the hair, I do end up stacking it up and adding some more layers. Okay, so you can do a couple different things with hair. If you want to cut out like circles and stack those on top, you can get some more like curly hair effect. You can always cut out the shape, and then when you're coloring it in, add texture to it, like if you want to add a pattern of a braid or something like that. I showed you guys my final version that's cut out and glued, and then my final version colored. All right, I hope you guys have a fun time with this, and good luck.